PlayStation 1 was a massive part of my childhood is a very, very gross misunderstainment. I still remember the Christmas that I got it. It came with 7 games. I'm trying to remember which 7 games they were, although I do know the Alien Trilogy and Fade to Black and Abe's Odyssey, maybe? That's a few of them, but I'm getting there because I want to make a video about that. However, this is a video I wanted to make just looking at some of the awesome games that I played in my childhood, or even just played the demo of, and just thought was absolutely awesome and that they don't really get a lot of recognition. And starting up with number 1 is C12 Final Resistance. This is a third-person shooter game that was released in April of 2001 in the UK and Europe, and in July in 2002 for America, which is very, very odd, as usually things are released in America first and then here afterwards. But I'm happy with that. It was developed by SCE Cambridge Studios and published by Sony Computer Entertainments. You know, I mean, that's what you'd expect for the PS1. Now, this is a really cool action game where aliens are attacking Earth, and you play as this really cool, really badass geezer, and you just go through level, and buildings are being collapsed, and the aliens you can take on with a special blade that you get, and you can pick up weapons of all different shapes and sizes. They take on all the different objectives and missions, interact with the environment. There's some platforming elements as well, which is really cool. But this is a game that I originally played first on a demo disc when we used to have those bad boys, and then I subsequently picked it up later on in life, and I play it every so often, once a year or every couple of years. It's a really cool game, and if you see it out and about, if you're a game collector, then it's well worth playing and picking up. I think it's quite cheap actually on eBay if you're looking for it there. But yeah, C12 Final Resistance, an absolutely badass game. This next one with Future Cop LAPD is a game that blew my little mind back in 1998 when I first played the demo, and that's when it was released. It was developed by EA Redwood Shores, so EA actually made a decent game. I mean, they made quite a lot of decent games back in the day before they became, you know, pure evil, you know, before the dark times, before the Empire. And it was released on PlayStation, PC, and on Mac, which is which is pretty cool. It was released in September of 1998, and here in the UK and in North America, and of course that was on all consoles. Now, this game, again, I played this one first on a demo and then picked up the game later on in life. A friend of mine had the demo disc and I borrowed it off of him because this friend had loads of games, but I was only allowed to borrow the demo discs, which was cool. I grew up in quite a poor family, so we couldn't really afford many games, throughout the 90s and early 2000s, which is, just the way life is. But Future Cop LAPD, you are a mech police officer who you can also transform into a hovering car, which is really cool, and it's just effectively just a what would be attributed these days to a twin stick shooter, just before the twin stick element, and you just shoot the crap out of all the little men and the turrets, and just you can hover over the mines. You got to activate lifts and destroy certain objectives and all this kind of stuff. It's just a really badass action game, and again, just like C12, if you've not picked this one up, then you are missing out. It truly is a great action game on the PlayStation 1. Another little gem on the PlayStation is Kingsleys Adventure. This is a charming little 3D adventure game where you take on the role of a little fox called Kingsley, and it was developed by Psygnosis. I think I pronounced that right, and it was developed and published by them, which is pretty cool. It was released on the PlayStation in September of 99 and in North America, and then in October of 99 for the UK. And Europe, obviously. But I'm just going to say UK because I'm from the UK and we're not really part of... we're part of Europe, I suppose, as the continent, but not as the EU. I don't know. It's all confusing. I'm not political. I'm staying out of it. However, Kingsleys Adventure, are the controls perfect? No. Sometimes, especially with a lot of old 3D platformer games and open world-esque games of the time, they were obviously new to the whole 3D element with the game design, so the movements on some games can be a little bit wooden, and of course, I don't mind tank controls. I grew up on it, so I'm used to it, so that really does not bother me. But with Kingsleys Adventure, you go around completing quests because you want Kingsley wants to be a knight, and he wants to protect the. He must defeat the evil bad Custard, who's responsible for turning other true knights into dark knights and all that kind of jazz. But it's a really cool action adventure game, and it oozes charm and of the times. And of course, you got to remember that games were mainly made for children back in the 90s. Of course, there were games that were made from the more adult audiences and the older kids and all that, but gaming was, back then, it wasn't seen as seriously as it is now. But Kingsleys Adventure is definitely another one that's worth looking at. Silent Bomber is another one of my favourites from the PS1. This is a really cool action game where you effectively just drop bombs, kind of like Bomberman. You drop bombs and then blow them up, but you can upgrade to be able to drop more bombs, and you can drop fire bombs and all sorts of things. And basically you just go around blowing shit up. That's effectively the game. You run around and you blow up enemies and you blow up obstacles and targets and all that kind of stuff. It has a very good story, which is fully voice acted for the most part, and it was developed by CyberConnect and published by Bandai. So let's see if well, now obviously Namco and Bandai are together, so Bandai Namco, but back then it was just Bandai, and let's see if they savage this video of a game that was released in October of 1999, because Bandai Namco can be a little bit wankerish with their the way they copyright strike people and whatnot, even though people can use stuff within fair use. I don't know why, they kind of suck the donkey dick that way. But Silent Bomber is it's very addictive, and it's a lot of fun. Obviously, as you can see from the gameplay, it's a blast to play through, and it's a game that, again, like all these games on this list, I play again and again and again from time to time. So much fun and well worth picking up, and cheap as well. This one's quite a cheap one that you can get. PacMan World is a open world Pac-Man game. It sounds bizarre, I know, but this is a game, 3D platformer, similar to the most recently released Kirby game on the Nintendo Switch, and it plays incredibly well, and the controls are great, the gameplay is great, and for a Pac-Man that's open world, it also does have the old school one on there if you want to play that too. But this is a game with 30 levels, all open world, and it sold very, very well. It sold 1.25 million copies in America alone, and it was developed by Namco and published by Namco, and was released in 1999. So another absolute banger from the 90s. This game is one that, again, like the others that I played on a demo, and then didn't pick it up until later on in my life. But this is a game that even the demos were substantial enough so you can have a lot of fun on them, you know? And Pac-Man World is one that I will always remember. As soon as I started playing it, I thought to myself, wow, this is actually a really damn good game. For a Pac-Man game running around in an open world setting, this is fantastic. And this is one of the beautiful things about gaming in the 90s, which I'm going to have a separate video on completely. But because there were so many studios and games were made for the love of making games, for the most part, the risks were taken and things were done, and this Pac-Man is just one of those games. Jersey Devil was a game that was owned by my cousin, so the first time I played it was over his house, and that was in 1998. And this game was developed by Megatoon Studios and published by PlayStation themselves, and it was released in December of 1997 here in the UK, and 1998 for America, and 1999 for Japan. I don't know why. It just was. I don't know what the release... I don't know. I think it's because Power Games had to be developed very much differently to other ones, I think. However, that aside, Jersey Devil is a really cool 3D platformer, and is it, again, like with Monkey Hero, is it perfect? No. But it's just got a lot of charm. It's got a really cool animated intro, and characters like Dennis, like a mutated pumpkin-headed geezer, and he works for Dr. Narf, who is just a nefarious doctor, and originally he has the Jersey Devil as a baby in a cage, and then you escape, and then you become a hero of Jersey Town, which is, which is pretty self-explanatory in the title. But it's a pretty cool little platformer, and it's not going to break no molds anywhere or anything. But it's just there. It's a good platformer for the PlayStation 1, and it's one that I really did enjoy as a kid, and I do enjoy it now to some extent. But you gotta push nostalgia aside sometimes, acknowledge that older games do have flaws. Some of them have aged incredibly well, but a lot of them do have flaws. But I love them, flaws and all. Monkey Hero is a game that I picked up in a shop, and it was in a discounted cardboard little gizmo on the counter in the shop, and that's where I bought a lot of games because they were under £10, which was awesome. I also picked up Grandia there for £10 as well, but again, that's a story for another day. But Monkey Hero is a badass Zelda-like game, and it's very much like Zelda. Is it anywhere near as good as the Zelda games, or even like The Secret of Mana, for example? No. But this is a charming little game from my childhood that I loved when I bought it, because it's a very simple game. It was developed by Blam, and it's published by Take-Two Interactive, and it was released in the February of 1999 in America, and well, exactly the same here in the UK. It's everything you'd expect from a 3D/2D Zelda-like game. Go around from dungeon to dungeon, collecting items and keys and defeating enemies and bosses and whatnot. It's your pretty simple stuff, but it's pretty charming. You can use peaches to regain health, and you can smash the crap out of people with a bow staff. And I do believe it's based on the same Monkey Hero and the same Monkey Legend that Goku from Dragon Ball Z was based on, by Akira Toriyama, which is also pretty cool, as I'm a massive Dragon Ball fan. But yeah, Monkey Hero is a game. Is it one that is an absolute must-play? No, not at all. But is it one that's worth giving a go if you just like... it's not too long either, it's quite short. So if you like just Legend of Zelda, Secret of Mana style games, then this is a game for you. And the final game I'm going to talk about today on this video is Apocalypse, which stars Bruce Willis, oddly enough. He provides the likeness to the main character and also the voice, so whilst you're shooting the crap out of everything, you also get a lot of one-liners from Bruce Willis, and there were some really cool cutscenes and whatnot where Bruce just has all his 90s Brucey charm. It was developed by Neversoft and published by Activision, so again, when Activision actually made decent games. This one was released in November of 1998, in both America and the EU. And yeah, it's just fully single player, and it's just shoot the crap out of everything, running from point A to point B. The only peculiar thing about it is, and I mean it doesn't take a lot to get used to, is that the X, square, triangle, circle buttons are the direction in which you shoot in. So triangle is you're shooting towards, like, forward, X you're shooting back, square you're shooting left, circle you're shooting right, R1 is jump. You can also pick up special bombs as well that you can just explode. You can destroy a lot of the environment, and you just, again, shoot the living crap out of everything, and that's pretty much the game through and through. You just go from level to level, from point A to point B, shooting things and just listening to Bruce Willis just make really really snide remarks all the time. But this is just 8 games that I absolutely love for the PlayStation 1. Please let me know in the comments what games you like, or if there's any games you'd like me to do a video on. And yeah, and we shall go from there. But thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.